Once, there were 3 trees on a hill in the woods. They were discussing their hopes and dreams. The first tree said, "Someday, I wish to be made into a box, but not just any box. I want to be the treasure chest of a wealthy man. I will have ornate carvings on my side. My clasps and hinges will be of silver, and I will hold within myself gold, rubies, diamonds, and pearls, the most treasures in the world." The second tree said, "Someday, I wish to be part of a boat, but not just any boat. I want to be the mast of a great sailing ship in a royal navy. I will stand planted in the deck. The mainsail will pull against me, and together we will draw the ship through the waves so smoothly that the king himself will be able to sleep on board, even in the darkest storm." The third tree said, "Someday, I wish to remain a tree, but not just any tree. I want to grow so straight and so tall that I will tower over the clouds, and all who pass this hill will see me standing there, pointing the way to heaven." Years passes. Seasons came and went. Then one day, 3 woodmen came up the hill, carrying axes. They cut down the first tree. They cut down the second tree. They cut down the third tree. The first tree was carried into a carpenter's shop. There, it was stripped of its bark and trimmed of its branches, and was made into a box, but not the treasure chest of a wealthy man. It was made into a simple feed box for animals and placed in a barn. The second tree was carried to a dark yard. It was too stripped of its bark and trimmed of its branches, and it was made into part of a boat, but not the mast of a great sailing ship. It was carved into a wooden bench and nailed in the back of a fishing vessel. And the third tree, when it stripped of its bark and trimmed of its branches, proved to be too flawed, even for common use. It was covered with a tarp and laid aside in a lumber yard. More years passes. Seasons came and went. And then one day, into the barn, where the first tree lay, now a feed box for animal, there came a young woman and a young man. And that very night, the woman has her firstborn child, and wrapped him in soft clothes, and laid him in the box. And the dream of a first tree came true. For that night, it held a treasure more precious than any in the world. More years passes. And then one day, into the boat, where the second tree was now a wooden bench, there sat a young teacher. The boat was sailed into the middle of the lake, and there the man fell asleep on a seat, with his head on the cushion. A terrible storm arose. Waves crashed over the side of the boat. The fishermen on board, in fear of their lives, woke the man who stood, and with one word, silenced the wind and calmed the waves. And the dream of a second tree came true, for that day it had carried the king of all kings. And what of the third tree? Well, the day came when the soldiers found that the tree and laid it across the back of a wooden man who struggled to the top of a tall hill where the tree was planted once again. And the dream of a third tree came true, for it towered all else. And all who passes that hill that day, and all who pass it since can see that it points the way to heaven.